what's up? It's Clobear. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about values-based budgeting, which is a video that is long overdue because values-based budgeting is everything that I teach, and I'm super excited to talk to you guys about it today. In this video, I'm going to teach you what values-based budgeting is. I'm going to talk about how you start doing one. I'll leave you links to the actual spreadsheets that I use in order to make a budget, or if you want to use an app, you can use an app too. But, and I'll also tell you why it's my favorite and why I teach it. So before we do that, be sure to hit the like button. And if this is the kind of stuff you're into, hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can hear when I have new videos coming out to talk about money. So first and foremost, what is values-based budgeting? So is it another one of those silly, stupid rules that completely ignores people's priorities and completely ignores the type of money you make? No, it's not. It's not like the 50-30-20 rule, which I think is a silly rule. And it's not really even a rule, more it's a philosophy on how you money. And the reason that I really like it is because values-based budgeting is essentially looking at all of your resources in the form of monetary resources and saying, okay, how can I dedicate the most resources to the things that I care about the most? And the nice thing about it is that that changes. What you value and what is important to you and what your priorities are kind of changes as your life changes. And when you do something like the 50-30-20 rule or some other standard rule that really doesn't look at your life and what you care about, it doesn't really change. But your life, and I'm a huge believer that your life has limited resources, and in order to live the kind of life that you want to live, you need to dedicate as many resources as possible to the things that bring you the most value, whether that's being financially independent, which I associate with freedom, or whether it's, saving up money for your kids' college, or whether it's saving up for a family, or whether it's healthy food and health and wellness, whether it's traveling. There's so many different things, which all will change according to where you're at in your life right now. It kind of makes budgeting fun because when you look at budgeting as more like a map to get you to whatever life you want to get to, or to get you to whatever goal you want to get to, it becomes this positive thing rather than this negative, restrictive, I just follow these rules because I have to and I need to adopt, you know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons that I like it, is that it makes budgeting fun. And I also think that it makes budgeting way more effective because when you are excited about the end goal and you're excited about why you're budgeting and you're excited and you can envision all the things that your money's going to do for you, it's a lot easier to stay the course and it's a lot easier to stay on budget rather than just doing it because someone told you to do it. One way to think about what values-based budgeting is if your employer paid you in something other than money, what would you want them to pay you in? For me, I'd want them to pay me in like time off or plane tickets, or I'd want them to pay my debt or, I'd want them to fund my 401k. So like, what are those things for you? Maybe it's shoes, maybe it's concert tickets, maybe it's plane tickets, maybe it's, I don't know, parties and alcohol. I don't know, whatever your thing. I'm not going to yuck your yum. As I've mentioned, one of the reasons I like it is because it's super, super, super personal. It completely depends on what your needs, desires, wants are. And it's not going to look anything like your neighbor Trisha's or your neighbor Kennedy's budget's going to look like. Instead, it's going to be really personal to what you value and what you want to do with your money. Another reason I really like it is because I think it prevents impulse purchases because you've already worked in and made space for the things that matter most to you, and you've made space for the things that you care about. So even if you really, really don't want to give up that daily coffee because it's the highlight of your day, and that if you're going to budget, you want to make sure you keep this in there and you're even willing to cut back on other things, that's okay. You can have a tiny little category in there that's for coffee every day if that's what brings you the most joy. That's the whole point of it, is it's to try and incorporate the pieces and things in your life that bring you value so you can live the life that you want starting right now, but you can also be setting yourself up for success financially. And even when we say setting yourself up for success financially, what that success is going to be very different for you than what it is for me. So for me, I want to retire early. I want to be independently wealthy so that I don't have to work. I want to be able to make passive income so I have the option on how I have to spend my time. Your goals and your vision of success may be totally different. Maybe it's not living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe it's having my dog is sneezing and it's adorable, so I'm probably not going to edit it out. Maybe it's having Yeah, was that quite the sneeze? She's looking at me like, did I ruin your video? Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, the meaning of success. So the meaning of success may mean totally different to you. So keep that in mind. And you know what? You might have to do some soul searching on what does that success mean to me? What do my values? What do they look like? What do I want my life to look like? How do I want money to create that life for me? I think that because values-based budgeting incorporates the things that really bring joy and value and excitement or whatever into your life, there's less chance of you impulse spending because you have already decided this is important to me, so I'm putting it in the budget. And to me, it's very similar to dieting. So when you have been too restrictive for too long, you are always going to have a binge, even if it's just a couple of days of restriction. So this kind of prevents the binge because it's like, okay, I'm incorporating the things that matter into me every single week. Now, this video isn't how to make a budget. So if you need how to make a budget, check out this video here. But I'll also leave a link to it down below. But if you already have a budget, or if you want to go watch that video first and then watch this video, this is how to alter it so that it's a values-based budget. So the very first thing you need to do in order to create a values-based budget is you need to know what your values are. And off the top of your head, you may think, of course I know what my values are, obviously. But if you looked at where all of your money is going, and you just really sat down and you took a moment to see, okay, here are all the different categories of where my money is going, would it reflect your values? Or would it be like me, where the first time I did this practice, I looked at all of my spending for the last 2 weeks and I saw, oh, if this reflected my values, the things that I value most are drinking, eating out, and being hungover and ordering snacks. So what does that look like for you? Take a look at your spending and say, okay, am I comfortable with this? Or what are my true values? Because for me, it was this wake-up call of like, I say I value travel, but I'm spending $600 over 2 weeks on drinking and eating out and dating. So what really matters to you? And for me, it is financial independence, which encompasses a lot of things for me. So it's freedom, it's stability, it's peace of mind, but that's all encompassed under financial independence. And my second is having a nice place to live. I am totally okay with spending money on my home as long as I feel comfortable and I want to be there, especially in, the way that we live now and a lot of remote working and things like that happening. So that's important to me. And travel and experiences are also really important to me too. So those are my top 3 expenses every year because those are the things that I care about the most. Be really honest with yourself. What are the things that matter the most to you? Where do you want to see your resources going? Where do you want to look at the end of the day to say, wow, everything I have, all the resources I have are going towards this and this and this, and I feel good about that. Step 2, if you haven't already, go look at your spending. See, does it align with the things that you said you were going to do? Does it align with the things that you say bring you most value? If it doesn't, there's good news. If you're spending more money on the things that you say don't bring you value, that means you have more money to reallocate to things that do bring you value. So that $600 that I found that I was blowing on drinking and eating out every 2 weeks, that was now reallocated to debt payments and saving for travel. So what is that for you? And when you look at your fixed costs that you think are fixed costs, maybe try to look at them in a different way. Maybe there are fixed costs that aren't actually fixed costs. So maybe you have 20 different streaming services and you're just considering that a utility. Well, not necessarily unless streaming is one of the things that you value the most. Or let's say, you think that your cell phone bill is permanent and there's no way to get it down. Well, a lot of the times there are a lot of ways to get your cell phone bill down. So try and like look at, okay, what am I claiming as a fixed cost here or unchangeable, but is actually an option. A really great example of this is last year I decided to sell my car, and I live in a city, so it's an option for me, but I realized at the end of the year that I was spending like $4,000 just to own a car that I almost never use because I also have a company car. And when I looked at that number, I was just kind of like, $4,000. It was like my fourth biggest expense in a whole entire year. And transportation is just not one of the things that I value a lot. And the car was paid off, but my insurance was really high at $150 every month. And you know, car maintenance, things happen, especially when you live in the city, city stickers, parking tickets, all of those things that went into it. And I was like, do I really want to be putting my resources here, or is there a way around it? And in my head, I had a boyfriend at the time who was like, nah, don't sell it. It's stupid. You already have it paid off. There's no point. I was like, well, it doesn't bring me any joy anymore. I don't need it. And it's really just going to be one of those things that keeps adding to the stress of my life because it's an added expense. It's something that I have to constantly think about, and I don't really want that. And so I ended up selling the car, and then I was able to invest the money that I made off of the car. And in the times that I have invested it in a local real estate flip project, I have made 20% each time I invested the $10,000 that I made. And I have made more than what I paid for the car. So that's pretty cool. So it's just kind of like rearranging your thinking of like, what do you think is not an option? And what do you think is not, you know, a changeable cause? And kind of getting creative and be like, could I change this? Do I feel good spending money on this? And if I don't feel good about spending money on this, how do I change this? What's the solution here? Now, almost important as knowing what you do value is knowing what you don't value. So as you've got this list of the things that you do value, also make a list of the things that you do not value, because this is kind of the parts of your budget where you're going to be able to look at and say, okay, these are opportunities for me to cut back on this so I can reallocate that to this. So, you know, for me, drinking, eating out, those sort of things, I was able to take a look at that and be like, okay, clearly I can reallocate this to things that actually matter to me. So what are those things for you? And as you're reevaluating those things and making sure you know what you value and what you don't value, don't get trapped into thinking this is an essential expense when you're not really thinking it through, or you're not really getting creative and thinking, okay, could I and am I willing to change this around? Am I willing to find out a solution to owning a car? Am I willing to find a solution to not eating out as much? Am I willing to not spend money going out to lunch every day? So those are kind of the things that you should be looking for. And once you do that, you're able to look at all the lists of the things that you don't value and all that found money that you realize you're spending on the things you don't value, and you're able to totally just like pull it out and reallocate it in your new budget, which is great. It's like found money, and it's realizing, okay, now I can take this $600 I was spending and I can make it work for me and work for the life that I actually want. And that's a good feeling. So what are the steps for values-based budgeting? First, know your values. Second, make a list of the things that you don't value. Third, look at everything that you spent your money on and see, okay, is my money aligned with my values, or is it aligned with the things that I don't value? 4, take a look at those things and start reevaluating your expenses. See, are there things in the areas of the things that I don't value that I can reallocate that money? 5, are there essential expenses in here that I'm saying are essential, like Netflix, Roku, Hulu, Showtime, HBO, all of those things that I'm claiming are essential but actually could use to put towards the things that matter more to me in my life? And 6, this is how they do it in China, where can I reallocate that found money? What means the most to me, and how can I start using that found money to improve my other categories that bring me more value or are a higher priority? So that's it. That's how you turn your budget into a values-based budget. And like I said, if you are starting from ground zero and you don't even have a budget, it's great that you watch this video first, because you'll go in to making a budget with this mindset. But head on over to my other video where I will walk you through step by step on how to create a budget. And I will also leave links to the spreadsheets that I use to create a budget. A lot of people use apps. I like spreadsheets just because I feel like they are the most easy to use and most customizable, and there's not constant like editing and things that, you know, you have to correct. So I will leave a link to those. They are free on Google, and I use them all the time. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. What are the things that you value? What are the things that maybe are in your budget that probably no one else puts in their budget? I would love to hear that. So thanks again for watching. If you got this far, be sure to hit the like button. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me at CloBear, CLO_bear. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.